It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe, and I'm your host. The show is called The Legends. In the House of the Legends, we're going to be talking about things that actually everybody goes through, unfortunately. Everybody in their family has Alzheimer's or dementia, or maybe both. But we're going to be talking about some people that actually goes through this on a day-by-day basis, and they're going to be sharing their experiences and their personal feelings about their loved ones and the things they go through. I have some friends in the house that I'm going to introduce you to. I have Coffee, I have Linda, I have Zay, I have Jose, I have Carl, I have Cheryl, and I have Bow-Legged Lou. Welcome to the Legends. So what we're going to talk about today is that they're going to actually share their strength, hope, and experiences on a day-by-day basis, what they actually go through. So I'm going to start with Coffee because her mother actually has the disease, and she's going to talk about some of the things that she actually goes through and some of the transformation that she actually has been going through since it started. So, Coffee, let's talk about what's going on.
Well, I can say maybe 5 years ago, when I was told by my mom's doctor that she had dementia, I really didn't take it serious because nothing really had changed. I know my mom will forget some things or repeat herself a lot, but I figured it's not so bad. I didn't take it serious. I didn't read about the disease. I just didn't think anything was going to change our lives the way it has. Um, I It's hard for me because my mom is my best friend. I mean, when I say my best friend, is my best friend in the whole world. And to remember her the way she was, full of energy, um, our Saturdays consisted of thrift shopping. So we would hit the thrift stores all over, far out. We would just do everything. And to see my mom bedridden, um, most of the time, don't even know who I am, um, I just was not prepared. And I was in denial about a lot of things, but it just gets worse. In fact, if I can, I wrote something about my mom, and I would like to share with everyone. Can you hold this, please? It's called From Your Womb. It's called From Your Womb. Some days she can hold a conversation with common sense and flair. Then all of a sudden break out in a lost, blank look, a mean, confused stare. It breaks my heart to see my mom barely eat. She's laying in bed right now, growing weak as I speak. Still, I prepare everything for her to eat. Cause I'ma always remember what my mama did for me. Bedridden, immobile, a prisoner of her own bed. The hallucinations are overwhelming, taking over her head. Seeing babies and people that ain't even there. And I gotta play along with this ugly disease because I refuse to allow my mama to feel like she's going crazy. That I know she can't bear. I don't know what's more painful, to see her leave me quickly and unplanned, or continue to watch this slow death that's robbing her soul, and it ain't nothing I can do, and it just hurts me so damn bad. My mom always been a proud woman, went to work every day. Very religious, a writer, a poet, and very good at it, I must say. I see the pain in her eyes on those days, no words in her talk. When I have to change her diapers, feed her with a spoon. I see her eyes full of tears, feeling helpless. Damn, this dementia is no joke. Robbing people's souls. Sometimes I walk in her room and she says, "Hey, who you?" So then that's when I remind her I am that beautiful baby that grew strong into a strong woman that came from your womb.
Linda, you want to share your story?
Well, mine is more in the past tense
Okay.
because my mom is gone already. But during that time, my mother wasn't bedridden or anything like
Closer
that.
to your mouth. Closer.
So
Closer.
I had to chase her around a lot, you know, and up and down the stairs or call out a name to remind with. At one time, I even felt like putting a bell on her. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. But I always had to remember because my mother used to always say to me, it's always good to have somebody there at the gate for you because you never know when your time is going to come. And I always remember that because I remember that no matter what went on, we ate. There was a roof over our head. She was there for us, and she took care of us. So with all that she went through for us, it was heartbreaking to see that because there were times I couldn't even talk to her. She would yell and scream at me like I was still 12 years old because in her mind frame, that's how she saw me. Go get your brother. Go do this. I would leave out to go to the store or something. She would be gone. Got to go find her. So it's a lot when you're dealing with a parent who no longer remembers. It hurts. It hurts that they don't remember you and you still remember everything. But, you know, and I say in this situation for those who are going through these trials and tribulations that you are going through, they are going to be all right because we come into this world not knowing. And as time goes on, sometimes we have to go back into that world. So we are basically those caregivers. And those ones that stay home and fight that fight, you have my utmost respect. Not to turn it over to the system, to be there for them, to change them, to feed them, to chase them, or put up with whatever, because your life is on hold now. You can't do the things that you wanted to do because now it's time to take care of her like she took care of you. So, you know, you always have to remember in that state of mind that there's going to come a time when she's not going to be here. And don't feel bad about that because it's the going through process that grows you. So, you know, you guys just stay strong. She's still here. He's still here. Stay strong with him and enjoy the time that you still have with him. Because there are times now that I wish I could pick up the phone and just call my mother, even just to hear her yell or holler at me. I welcome that. But it's not there anymore. So, you know, just stay strong and you lean on your people. Let them help you with the burden sometimes. That sometimes your family members are not there, brothers or sisters or whatever. My brother was across seas when all of this was going on. So it was all on me. So I still had to work and I still had to be there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a lot. It's a life changing and it will humble you. So, you know, that's pretty much all I really have to say about it.
Okay. Zay, tell your story.
Hello, everyone. My situation is just a little different. My father got sick. Okay, so before he got sick, I was always it was always a place where I could call my father because we both cook. I would call him, go in the kitchen and cook and talk to my father. He was that person. He was a pastor, so I can talk to him about anything. Last year sometime he got kidney issues. They took out kidney stones out. He got sick. And he had 86. So now at 86, he's like, they said that they ran all these tests while he was in the hospital, and they said he had a touch of dementia. So today, he's God raised him back up. He's taking care of himself. My sister became the power of attorney. Everybody started to, come in and try to help my father. So now it's at the place where he's feeling much better, but my sister's concern is he's starting to have forgetful moments. They're saying that he's doesn't have dementia now, but we're seeing it. So I told my sister the next time you go to the doctor, let them give him a full test. And, you can tell what the test is. It's just for them to remember they're remembering an elephant or something, like some kind of test that they give them. But now it's not the same. Like when I used to call my father, we can talk about anything. He's having a lot of pockets in his mind where he's not remembering our conversations. So it's weird because this is the man I can always call and we'll have talk about politics. Anything daddy give his own opinion, but he's not judging you. He just love you and we just have conversations. So now it's weird when I call him, but he knows his history. He'll take you all the way back to Jamaica. But like things that's going on today, he's not remembering everything.
Oh.
So it's weird.
How does it make you feel just to go through the transformation of those emotions?
Honestly, because I'm in my own healing process, so I'm kind of being selfish right now. After I went through that journey, December 22nd was the last time being in Jersey. I can't do that again. I feel that this part in my life, it's time for Xavier to live. I check on my sister, I check on my brothers, I call them and find out how dad's doing, and mommy's not taking it well.
Okay.
But these are functional pastors. Mommy's 84 and daddy's 86, and they're like growing apart in the same house where my two brothers are there. So I live in New York, and my sister live in Jersey, but we're at the place where we feel like we're there. We're just a call away, but I just feel like I'm pulling away from my family.
Okay.
And I think I don't feel that it's something wrong. I just feel that my love is there, but I have to kind of pull away to heal because it's doing something to me. When Daddy got sick, I woke up. I would come over. It's four of us. One died, so it's five. It used to be five, but it's four of us now. My sister and my brother live in Jersey. I live in New York. So when they would need me, they'll say, Xavier, I need for you to come up to Jersey. I will come up on a Friday and leave Monday, Tuesday. Mm-hmm. When I saw my father got sick and I saw the forgetful moments, it put me through a train of crying every morning. I would wake up 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm crying, bawling, crying in the pillow while I lay across the hall from his bedroom. But it's like my father, we can talk about politics, life. My father was always that person you can talk to. Not right now, he's there, but he's not there. So it's really painful, and I feel that I can't go down that road again. But he's better. He's taking care of home. He's fixing everything in the house like he normally do because he's feeling better. And I don't know.
Jose. Jose, before you talk about your story, man, and things that you're going through, let's talk about the concept and the functioning of the disease itself. Tell the viewers about that.
First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for having us on the show once again.
Thank you, man.
For such a topic that hits home for all of us.
Right.
And just to speak on the topic, thank you once again, dementia. So it's the general name for a decline in cognitive abilities, right, that impacts a person's ability to perform their everyday activities. So this typically involves problems with, memory, thinking, and behavior. So aside from memory impairment and a disruption of the thought process, the most common symptoms include emotional problems, difficulties with language, and decreased motivation. So when someone is caring for a person that's having this decrease in memory and this declination, it actually affects not just the person, but the whole family or whoever's around, family and friends, the community, where you would interact with these individuals on a daily basis, see them for breakfast, sometimes lunch, even dinner, greet each other, to then see slowly but surely over time, whatever happened to Miss Jones? Whatever happened to Mr. Rivera? Where are they? Oh, did you know that, they were medically diagnosed with either Alzheimer's or dementia, which people don't know the difference, right?
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that, prevention is the number one thing that we should all be mindful of.
Right.
Right? Ever since the pandemic, a lot of misinformation and distrust of the medical field had popped up, right? Where you had difference of opinions with physicians. Well, now, people are going onto Google, looking for information to see, oh, wait, I got a cough. Is it COVID or is it the flu? Well, in the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, there's always a test review from 1 to 5. We're at 5 now. Every other diagnosis has had either alteration or something included. Dementia has always been steadfast. The one thing is that they did notice when you hit a certain age, it becomes to be more known. Typically around 65 and over. Many people that have it earlier onset is due to substance use, hereditary, or other things of that nature, environmental, chemical. And many people of the service that return doing a couple of tours overseas have actually verbalized memory issues and stuff, which eventually happens to go into dementia at an early onset age. And that's just basically the overall on dementia itself. My personal story is that, I recently moved down about 5 months from my house. Still have my house upstate, but I'm staying with my mom because my brothers and my sister noticed that she needs around-the-clock care.
Right.
Now, if everyone's been paying attention to what's been going on with Medicaid and Medicare, there's cutbacks, there's budget cuts. That means if your parents or significant other or family member is having issues with home care, you may want to look to your legislator. You might want to call your assemblyman or assemblywoman, these politicians that write these things into law, and tell them, I have someone living in my home right now. They don't get around-the-clock care. You only want to give them 4 hours. What's going to happen to the rest of the 20? They're there alone. The stove knobs are turned. Smell gas. The neighbors got to be knocking. The firemen come because they trust the life alert, which we'll speak about later, my own personal experience. And the firemen come in just to see that this poor person that's elderly is at home alone. And these are the things that, family members, which I've already heard, are experiencing.
Right.
And when you see the decline in a family member like your parents, it hits home. Not as much as your siblings, because you grew up together, but your parents that cared for you, taught you your basic needs. Now, we all know that as children, we're taught, right? And we have to, be put on Pampers and all. Then we live our lifespan, but we return back to that stage. And when you are experiencing a diagnosis of dementia, it's harder to control your bowel movement, when you urinate, when you shower, your common life areas, communication. And these are the things that are most essential when being diagnosed with dementia.
The question I want to ask is that, people that actually living with other people that has it, do you feel that everybody's fully committed in a sense? Because I've had situations where I've talked to people and there's only one person out of the family that's fully committed just for that one person, which I think is unfair, and I got a problem with that. Because I feel that if you have a family member that's going through that type of situation, I think they should have the full support from all their family, because why should just one person share the burden? I don't think it's fair. Jose, talk about what's going on.
So thank you for alluding to that. My sister and my brother live on the 6th floor. My mom lives on the 8th. They just recently moved her out of a bad neighborhood in the East Tremont section of the Bronx over to Soundview, which is not that much better, but there's a little part that's protected with security and all within the facilities. So, been there for like a month, started a new job back in the Bronx. And I noticed that my mom was waking up at a certain time from 2 to 5 in the morning. And at this time, she began having like little coughs. And I thought it was like the steam, and she would walk into the walls and go to the bathroom. And then she would return back to her room, and she has a life alert box. She would always press that box, trying to just put her hand down so she could lay back down on the bed, on the dresser. So 3 out of 5 days out the week, I found myself having to get up from my bed, running to the room because I have this life alert box, yelling at my mother yelling back at this life alert box, these two entities just going back and forth. Ma'am, are you all right? She's like, shut up, I don't know you. Why is this box talking to me? And these people are going back and forth. We're gonna send a fireman. I gotta come in, please cancel that order. I'm here, I'm her son. She went to the bathroom. I say, okay, this is happening too often. And I said, that's why I'm here, to prevent that. Before these past 2 weeks, she had the fireman go to her home 3 times.
Wow.
One of the times she had to be taken to the hospital. And, you know, by the grace of God, everything checked out, and it's just showing that her dementia is getting worse. Now, the most important piece to this is the medication aspect. I encourage each and every person that has a family member or themselves that is on medication to speak to your primary care. Let them know how many medications you're on, because one may be canceling the other. And what happens is that all this stuff is in your system and it affects your organs, then travels up your spine, up to your brain. We all know that chemically, these things cancel each other out. So what's gonna happen to your body? The same thing that we're supposed to flush things out, it becomes harder. You have 10 medications on you and you're not drinking water and you're constantly just laying down. What happens is that you become a person that's chemically induced. And from that, things can only get worse and the decline gets even further.
Okay. Carl, let's talk about what's going on with you.
I take care of my aunt. She's 98. And I guess she's been with me for 6 years. About 10 years ago, she started repeating herself and wasn't hearing well. So I got her some hearing aids. She was living alone, but she lived next door to her sister, who was also a senior. So as a result, my aunt called me and said, your aunt's not doing well. So I went with her to the doctor. The doctor diagnosed her with dementia. And initially, it was memory loss. So it's like, let's talk about memory loss. What's happening? She was leaving the water on. She went and actually left the stove on a couple of times, and she burned up a couple of coffee pots. She loved coffee, percolated coffee. So I found myself buying coffee pots. Like, what's going on that I keep buying coffee pots? So I stayed with her for a week to see what was going on. I went with her to the doctor, and the doctor said that she has dementia. At that point, it was like, okay, you can come live with me. She told the doctor, I'm not ready to live with him. I want to maintain my independence. The doctor said to her, well, when that time comes, you're going to have to live with someone. She was like, okay, well, when that time comes, I'll talk about it then. And I'm not talking about it now. I'm staying in my house. Fast forward to February 2018. She had gone over to my aunt's house, her sister, in the middle of the night with just her house coat on in the cold, and said that people were coming out of the TV at her. My aunt called me and let her stay with her that night. I went there the next morning. I set up for a forensic nurse to come and give my aunt a dementia scale test. The scale goes from 0 to 30. 30 being no dementia, 0 being fully demented. My aunt was a 6 on that scale. At which point I knew I needed to move my aunt with me. She lived in Maryland, I lived in New Jersey. It took me about a week to get everything in order, and she said she wasn't coming. After I got everything in order, she started telling the neighbors, I'm going to live with Peppy, which is what she called me from the time I was a kid.
Right.
My aunt was vibrant. She was the life of the party all the time, the family dancer, the cook, the person that helped everyone in the family, her and my uncle. She was a widow. She was a cancer. She is a cancer survivor. I brought her to live with me, and it was like the best thing initially until I got a particular boss at work that made my work life hard because I had to take my aunt to doctors and the like. My aunt's condition thrusted me into therapy in order to save my job. I went to EAP and told them what was going on. I got a therapist within 2 days. And from that point to this, I've been in therapy. But back to my aunt. When she came to live with me, she was mobile. She loved riding in the car. I took her out to ride every day. She started hallucinating, so I took the TV out of her room because the people out of the TV started, and I saw it for myself. So I started to bathe her and the like because they don't like to bathe. I realized that they didn't like to shower. They don't like to shower because the water on their head makes them feel like they're drowning. So I started bathing her. My life was no longer my life and is no longer my life. It became and is hers. And it was me. I thought I was able to do this on my own. Self-care is part of caregiving. It took a couple of people and my therapist to tell me that. And for me to realize it, because I was just taking care of my aunt and not doing anything for me. My life basically fell into the ocean. And that's the only analogy that I can say. It drowned until I realized that I needed to care for myself in order to care for her. She stopped walking in December of 2019. She went into rehab and came out a week before the pandemic. Doing that, and she developed a wound in rehab. So she has wound care. But I saw her go from this vibrant, mobile, active senior to a shell of what she once was. A couple of people alluded to going back to a childlike state. An old adage is twice a child, once an adult. We will all get there at some point. Right now, Coffee's poem resonated in my mind because everything that she said is what my aunt is going through. Right now, she's not talking, she's not eating, and she's wheelchair bound. But you know what? She's my baby, and I will do whatever I need to do. Fortunately, I was able to retire to spend whatever time she has left with her. And you talked about it not being fair for one person to do it. There's always one in every family. Exactly, and that one is the person that always helps everybody else. My aunt and uncle were that one. People in my family forget that they would not be the men and women that they are had it not been for those two. My aunt and uncle had no children. My mother had me when she was 43 in 1967. That was unheard of. My aunt, another aunt said to me, "Your mother had you for a reason and purpose." I never knew what she meant until I started taking care of my aunt. That was my reason and purpose for my mother having me at 43. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change it for the world.
How does it make you feel to actually deal with it, and how do you prepare yourself on a day-by-day basis to actually deal with this?
So my aunt is the first person she sees. I'm the first person she sees in the morning, and the last person that she sees at night. I'm preparing myself for her not to be here. Very hard, but I will go without. She cannot. The home care knows that whatever my aunt needs, you tell me. I will make sure that she has it. If there was a way for me to trade places with her, I would. And not bat an eyelash, because that's who she was or what she did for me. The things that I miss most is her laughing. But what's funny is she may not speak now, and she sits more often than not and lays down with her eyes closed, but she's alert. I can come into the room and kiss her, and she immediately busts into hysterics, which makes my heart feel good. The first time that she didn't know who I was unnerved, because I was always her kid and she never had any. I wanted for nothing. She made sure that I finished college. Her and my uncle retired from their jobs to ensure that I went to school. My uncle got me my first job that I stayed on for 32 years. I have a bond with her that people have with their parents. My mother passed away when I was 14. My aunt stepped in, though I lived with my dad, and made sure I wanted for nothing. I have no choice but to make sure that she has and wants for nothing. I told her. She was upset that I was taking care of her. She was like, I want you to live your life, and I know that I'm taking away from that. And she's not. She has added so much to my life in these past 6 years. I expressed to her, she will never, ever have to worry about going into a facility, because she gets better care from me and my home health aide than she will get in any facility. The doctors come to the house, the podiatrists come to the house. Anything that she needs medically outside of her wound care, they come and do it at the house. My aunt, the doctors, the nurses, and everybody's like, your aunt is here because of the one-on-one care and the love that she gets. If she was in a facility, she wouldn't be here. The pandemic, the doctors like, your aunt would have not made it through in any facility. I am grateful for her existence. I'm grateful that God has given me the wherewithal and the ability to take care of this 98-year-old Black queen. And I've been given an assignment. I understand it and will carry it through to the end.
Cheryl, let's talk about your story, because I know your mom's.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go up there periodically. I cut her hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she's beautiful. I mean, she loves music, and you know, let's talk about your mom's. You know, let's talk about what you're going through with her.
First of all, just a little bit about myself. I wear two hats: as a daughter and as an occupational therapist, which is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a nursing home, so I work with Alzheimer's dementia patients. In terms of my mother, I noticed changes in her 2019, where she would forget how to get from one place to another driving, even though she was using a GPS. So I just kept, notice of different things. So I started going to the doctor with her. And when she got diagnosed in 2021, I wasn't surprised. And I was just waiting on the official notice that she had Alzheimer's. So she was living independently and she was doing well, but then she was getting more and more forgetful and she was getting more paranoid, where she would call me up. Somebody came into my apartment and they stole this, that, and the other, to the point where I ended up putting a camera in her apartment, and I'd be watching it at work all the time. And I'm saying, this is ridiculous. But I never saw anyone in the apartment. And I would tell her, Ma, there's nobody been in there. I would even show her, no, somebody keeps coming in. Where she lived at the time, it was a senior center, and she would get lost within the 3 buildings. They were all connected. So that was concerning. So I said, I have to do something. She can't live in that situation anymore. So I put her in assisted living, which worked out well for a while, but then she kept getting urinary tract infections and in and out of the hospital, and her behavior would change, and they wouldn't take her back. So she stayed in the hospital for a while. She's in a nursing home now. The move from the apartment, you said a little while ago, you don't understand how in a family it'll only be one. I'm one of 3. My younger brother passed a few years ago, but he had MS. But he was my sounding board. When my mother moved, it took me 10 days to move out the apartment. Not that it was cluttered, she just had a lot of stuff. My older brother came down one day, got what he wanted, and that was it. So I was left to still clean up and clear out her stuff. But anyway, she's in a nursing home now. She's close to where family is, which is a good thing, because I live here, and as you know, she lives in Delaware. So throughout this whole process, I'm back and forth. During the pandemic, I was laid off, so I had the time. Sometimes I would go down 3 times a month to go shopping, to just sit with her, to take her to the doctor, to do whatever she needed to do, but just the back and forth. So now I kind of feel a little reprieve because I don't have to be there all the time. My cousins are there, the staff is there, they're very good, she's well cared for. I can kind of breathe a little bit, but it's still difficult to see your parent, who you've always known to be vibrant and active. My mom loves music, turn music on, she's gonna dance. She's just a shell. You know, my biggest fear is I walk into the room one day, she won't know who I am. I walk in the room now and they say she changes. They say she's happier when I'm there. Okay, so I just go sit with her. Whether she knows I'm there, I'm not. Whether she's sleeping or not, I'll just sit. If, dinner comes and mom doesn't feel like feeding herself, I take pleasure in feeding my mother. I'll do that. Why not? She fed me when I was younger. But it's not easy, especially being that I'm here and she's in Delaware. But I do what I have to do. Self-care is important. I do take some time where I just go off and drive. I'll drive 2 hours and come back home. I feel better. But that's my therapy. But it's not easy. It's not easy.
Okay. Lou.
So, first of all, the stories I've been hearing is very commendable. And my situation, my mother lives with me. And I started noticing my mother being forgetful and everything when she would have the stove on and not go back. And then I'll never forget this as long as I live. She finished making some type of food, and then I went with her. I was right next to her at the stove, and she said, "You know something, son? I'm so tired of cooking." And after that, she never cooked again, ever. So we took that on. You know, my mother, dementia, she had some mini strokes, which led to the dementia and Alzheimer's. But my grandmother, her mother, my mother used to care for her back in the day. My grandmother lived with my mother for 8 years, and my mother used to care for her, and I used to see this. I see how my mother cared for her own mother. And I have to say, yeah, I have a village of people that support. I don't know if you guys knew this actress, Bernadette Stanis. She played Thelma in Good Times. Her mother passed away because of Alzheimer's and dementia, but she used to call and talk to my mother and help my mother care for her own mother. So I never forget things like that. So I always say I have a village. Right now, my mother, she can't walk by herself, so we get her out of her recliner chair or out of the bed, me and my brothers, my 2 brothers, and we'll walk her. She'll at least use her legs with her walker and everything like that because her will is still there. Because we give her the love and we shower her the love, because just like that gentleman say, and I don't judge people that put their loved ones in a nursing home. I just can't, you know, because I feel if it wasn't for me and my 2 brothers, I don't know if y'all know the movie House Party. Me and my 2 brothers, we played the bullies chasing after Kid and Play. We're blood brothers. And I always tell my brothers, if it wasn't for the 3 of us, I don't know if Mom would still be here, because she loves us so much. She tells all the doctors and nurses, I love my 3 wonderful sons. So even though she lives with me and I'm her primary caregiver, we still do it together. Like right now I'm here, but my cousin is there waiting on my mother because she needs the 24 hours. The days of her being by herself in the house have been long gone, you know. But one thing that and we were just seeing a neurologist yesterday, one thing that I know with her, with the moderate dementia, she still laughs because she loves to laugh. The TV is actually her babysitter. So she's certain shows that she'll watch over and over again. We have like DVDs and play the same thing over and over because that keeps her mind attuned. I once did this thing 5 years ago where I had a videotape of my mother, of people giving birthday shouts to my mom. Friends, family, my kids, my brother's kids, celebrities like Vivica Fox, Blair Underwood, who loves my mom. And I didn't know that I would be using that same video compilation of over 115 birthday shout outs to her. I didn't know I'd be using that as a tool now for the past 2 years to play for her once or twice a week, just to keep her mind engaged with family and friends. And sometimes she'll talk back to the TV and to the family and friends just to keep her engaged, because, you know, she needs that love because she gives out that love and she appreciates the love. She can't take a shower on her own. We give her the shower. I remember the first time that I took off my mother's clothes to give her a shower, and the first time I saw her naked, and she started crying only because she's so independent. She said, but you're my son, you see me? I said, that's okay, Mom. You saw us naked when we were little, and it's our turn to take care of you. And we shower her. She knows I clean her behind up. She goes in the toilet. She can't mend for herself, so we do it. And I do it proudly. And my brothers do it proudly. And she used to be ashamed, but she's not ashamed anymore because she knows we're there to help her. I says, Mom, we are here for you. Tell her that every single day. We are here for you. So I have so many different stories that I won't get into with that. But the thing about it is, if you have a village, I heard some of the horror stories before where family members or people aren't there to support, you know? It might be just one person and it's like, yeah, I don't know, my system, or they not helping. And, you know, as a caregiver, yeah, it changes your life. It definitely changed my life because I have to be there to focus more. I have a master bedroom upstairs, but I'm hardly there. I stay right by my mother's room, right outside on the couch, and that's like my new bed, and it's all good. But like I said before, I have a village, some supporters. They'll come and stay with my mother while I have to go away. This past December, my mom just wasn't looking good for some reason, just about your doctors and everything like that. She didn't look good, so I told my brother Paul, I said, Paul, we're taking Mom to her primary doctor, but I want to take her to the ER right after the primary doctor. I don't care what she says, the doctor says. Paul says, yeah, really? I said, yeah, because she just don't look good to me. And she had legs swollen. Took her to the primary doctor examined her, everything like that. And I said, yeah, doc, I think I want to take my mom to the ER, because the ER at least is a one-stop and shop situation to do all the tests and all that stuff there. And she goes, no, I don't think, you should just take her back home. Just take her back home. And, I think, if anything gets even worse, then maybe you see. After we left, I said, Paul, I ain't taking mom back home. We're going to the ER. Went to the ER. The swollenness disappeared from her leg when they said, what do you want? I said, listen, she's complaining about her stomach, and there's no more swollenness in her leg, but it comes and goes. I want you guys to do a sonogram anyway. I said, okay, this is to the ER, and she wasn't looking great. They went, they took her in to do the sonogram of her legs. Come to find out, my mom had a blood clot, not just on one leg, but on two legs. And then all of a sudden, they're like, whoa, they had to do x-rays and stuff with her chest and everything. The blood clot moved up to her lungs. This is just December, a week before Christmas. Moved up to her lungs and her heart. And then, so now they're talking about, they don't know if she's gonna make it, do not resuscitate, to resuscitate, all of that stuff. So it's me and my brothers, and my brother Paul, who's there with me. I said, well, we're gonna say resuscitate if it comes to that. I always keep saying if it comes to that. I know doctors are doctors, and what they say, well, if you resuscitate, the quality of life, she could be a vegetable. I said, I hear you, but y'all are gonna resuscitate by any means necessary if it comes to that. Okay, I gotta make some calls. Yeah, you make your calls. And they took my mom in, they put her on blood thinners, then this other medication. And at 87 years old, my mom survived that. It was a miracle. She survived that. And they said that if I would have took my mother home, she would have been dead. It wouldn't have been a good Christmas. So sometimes you got to follow your own mind. Even if doctors tell you a certain thing, your loved ones, sometimes you got to go on your gut feeling. And my mother survived. She's 87. She had a stroke like 2 days later in the hospital, but she's back home, and she's still doing the damn thing. We still have to monitor her, blood thinners every single day. She's going to have to do that for the rest of her life. We take her monitor her like all the time, and it's a village. There's everybody there home. And Tyrone, who's the host of the show, he's one of my dearest friends. We went to public school together. And even before my mother got sick, this is why when you have a support system of love given out, Tyrone used to call my mom all the time just to check on her. She wasn't even sick, just to talk with her and just to just talk with her, just as a friend. When my father was sick, he's passed away now, Ty used to come there and do prayers. So this man's been a great friend to me. And when you have support system like that, because I'm such a giver, I love giving, but when you have it coming back to you, it's a true blessing. And a lot of that stuff really, really helps. The love and care. And like the brother said, that he's going to be there for his aunt no matter what, because you're there. And that's the same way I feel, no matter what, you be there for them and think positive, and, it's all good. Yeah.
And so, I want to thank you guys for the comments around the room, but we're going to stay tuned and we'll be right back.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house. It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
My assignment, my calling is to inspire, uplift.
You have to make sure your people are partying.
All I want to do is just bring joy to the dance floor and watch people dance.
Tino. And we're back. My name is Tyrone Lowe, host of The Legends. We're talking about Alzheimer's and dementia. There's a lot of sad stories about it, and a lot of people, like I said, has to go through this, and it's very shameful that they really have to. But Coffee, I want to ask you a question. If you had to say something to this disease, what would you say to it?
I would say it's ugly, it's horrible. It it's stole my mother's soul. My mom is now bedridden, a prisoner of her own bed. And even when I hear stories here that at least your mom could move her legs or walk, or it's like my mom just lays in the bed all day. And, you know, it has really changed my life. It's changed my life so much, Tyrone. I am a recording artist. I'm used to being out in the public. And for this past year that my mom came to live with me, I haven't gone anywhere. It's just working home. And if it wouldn't, this brother in front of me, Carl, he's helped me out so much with putting me on the right direction of what I do. And his sister sitting over here, Linda, and there's a brother in the audience out there, name is Arnold. He's helped me tremendously because I'm basically doing it by myself. My manager is like, Coffee, I don't care about a show. I don't care about a party. This is my calling here, to be with my mom, to take care of her until when God says it, that's it. So the struggle is real, and it pains me because just yesterday I came home from work, and thank God my job, I work in social services, Isaiah House. It took a minute for, like you said, Medicaid to kick in, and I didn't have Pampers, but because I work in social services, they were giving me Pampers and what else you need, Coffee, just supply me with the things I needed until Medicaid kicked in, and I didn't know it was so hard getting these things to become available, you know. And it's a funny thing, my mom always likes, it's a game show called Deal or No Deal. So yesterday I come home and she says, Randallin, turn it off. I said, Ma, this is Deal or No Deal. He did me dirty. She was talking about the guy on the TV, and I said, okay, no problem. And now she said, I don't never want to see Deal or No Deal. Whatever is in her mind, this person came to life and really did her dirty, But it's hard. My life is work, home. Coming here, I wanted to apologize to everyone because I was late. Why? Because the home health aide that I depend on was supposed to be there at 8:30, didn't arrive to 10:30. And so it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
I'm going to say to everybody briefly, I want everybody to say some encouraging words to the people that's actually dealing with this out there and try to make it very brief. We only got like 5 minutes. Starting with you, Carl.
I will say you create your village. And that's what I did. Create the village, the people that support you around these circumstances, those are your true friends. They say we can't create our family, but we create a new family. Our nuclear family may not be there, but the family, the house community has been there and supported me from the first day.
Okay. Cheryl, make it brief.
My village are my cousins. And rely on your village and take care of yourself.
Okay. Linda.
It was basically just me because, like I said, my brother was overseas. You're talking about this was going back over 20 years ago.
Right.
So basically I had to rely on myself, but I had to really rely on God because it took a lot for me because I had to deal with my own anger and frustrations at the same time. So if you don't have anybody to rely on, keep in prayer. Somebody will always answer your call.
Okay.
You're not alone no matter what.
Okay. Zay.
Well, I will say prayer for the whole family. I would say I come from a prayer family, so I would say in any family that's dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's, prayer is the key. And lean on the ones that are there.
Keep it brief. Jose?
I would like to say be present, empathetic, understanding, and unity. Regardless if you're going through anything with any family members, at that time of need, come together and be present, because at the last moments and the picture that you have on that individual's mind wants to be the last lasting good memory.
Okay. Lou?
Everything that everybody's echoed, I say follow that. You know, be present, create your own village, everything, and always stay positive and prayerful. And I just want to say to everybody out there, because we're not the only ones dealing with this, if anybody out there, of course, is dealing with things like this, stay positive. May all the positive and optimistic things in life forever be yours, and make every day your own house party. And keep kicking that freaking ass!
You know, I want to thank you guys for actually coming through, man, and sharing your strength, hope, and experience with this, because this show is to show other people that they're not alone. You know, we actually encountered a bunch of voices, but as one, you know, and I want to thank you guys for really coming on my show and really giving it up like the way you did. And even though that you're giving up here, you still got to go back to that world, you know, and I want to actually tell everybody out there that you're not alone. You know, you're going to go through things, and the people that haven't even went through it yet, I think that they should actually take encouragement, and also because you never know when it's going to actually happen. It's so random, you know. I feel that, you know, if you're a caring person, use your perseverance, use your purpose, and actually care for someone today, you know, that's actually going through this, because you never know what's going to happen to you. And you're going to want somebody to care for you as well. But this has been another T-Lo Video production, and you guys stay tuned for another episode.
Listen, I just want to say one more time to commend him. Thank you very much, Tyrone. I mean, actually, you're a great guy. And I'm really proud of you because of all these years of being in public schools, in high school and junior high school, and you getting left back 3 and 4 times. I'm so proud of you today. So, encore.
Thank you, guys. Y'all stay tuned for another episode. All right.
This is our house.
My assignment, my calling is to inspire, uplift.
You have to make sure your people are partying.
All I want to do is just bring joy to the dance floor and watch people dance.
T-Lo. It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.